They say every story begins with a reason. Mine began with two. My parents, Richard and Clara. I grew up watching them build our world with their bare hands. Every nail hammered into our tiny home, every meal cooked with weary fingers, every smile they forced through exhaustion, all of it shaped who I became. I can still see my father's calloused palms, rough from years of labor, and my mother's tired eyes that somehow always softened when she looked at me. We were never rich, but we were never poor in love either. That's what made me believe that maybe, just maybe, I could change our lives someday. Not because I wanted luxury, but because they deserved peace. I remember coming home from school to find my father asleep at the table, tools scattered around him, his lunch untouched. My mother would quietly place a blanket over his shoulders and whisper, "He's working for us, Ethan. One day you'll understand." I do now. Every exam I studied for until dawn, every odd job I took to cover tuition, every sleepless night, it wasn't ambition that drove me. It was love. A love so deep it felt like a promise I had to keep. I wanted to give them more than they ever asked for. I wanted to see Clara rest without worry and hear Richard laugh without the pain. Some people chase dreams for fame or glory. Mine was simpler. I just wanted to give my parents a life where they wouldn't have to count coins. It wasn't easy. There were nights I doubted myself, when the world felt too heavy. But whenever I thought of giving up, I'd hear my father's voice echo in my mind. "Ethan, hard work never betrays those who believe in it." And he was right. All the struggles, all the sleepless nights, they were worth it. Because every step I took brought me closer to the life I dreamed for them. And that was enough. At least, that's what I believed. Until the day I met Ryan, and everything I thought I knew about my life began to change. The first time I saw Ryan, he stepped out of a car so polished it mirrored the sky, a black sedan with tinted glass, the kind you only see in movies. The driver jumped to open the door, and a man in a crisp suit followed behind, carrying his bag like it was made of gold. That was his butler. Everyone knew, Ryan Ashford, the golden boy of our school. He had the kind of presence that made every conversation pause mid-sentence. Teachers straightened their backs when he walked in. Students whispered his name, as if it carried some hidden weight. Maybe it did. After all, his family owned half the city, from luxury hotels to private hospitals. Meanwhile, I worked part-time at the local cafe after class, wiping tables and delivering coffee. My shoes wore thin long before each semester ended, but I never really minded. Every dollar earned was a step closer to the peace that Richard and Clara deserved. Ryan, on the other hand, seemed to enjoy reminding me how far apart our worlds truly were. "Careful, Ethan," he said once, after I accidentally brushed past him in the hallway. "Wouldn't want to scratch the floor. You might have to clean it after class." The laughter that followed echoed in my ears long after he walked away. He was sharp-tongued and charming, the kind of boy people forgave too quickly. But beneath that perfect smile, there was always a flash of mockery in his eyes. What confused me most wasn't his arrogance. It was our surname, Ashford. Whenever teachers took attendance, there was always a pause. Ethan, Ashford, then Ryan Ashford. The silence between our names hung heavy, as if it carried a question no one dared to ask. Our lives couldn't have been more different. Ryan arrived at school in luxury, surrounded by friends who trailed him like an entourage. I arrived on a second-hand bicycle, my lunch carefully packed each morning by Clara. Final exams loomed. I added shifts at work to afford the study materials I needed. My friends urged me to take a break, but I couldn't, not when Richard and Clara had sacrificed so much already. One night after work, I rode home exhausted, my backpack heavier than usual. As I rounded the final corner, I froze. There it was, the black sedan, the one Ryan always rode in, parked outside our house. The butler stood by our gate, hands respectfully clasped, and Ryan was there too. But it wasn't just his presence that shook me. It was my parents, Richard and Clara, and beside him, smiling. Not a polite, distant smile, but something warmer, deeper. Their eyes brimmed with a pride I'd never seen before, not even directed at me. My mother, Clara, laughed softly at something Ryan said, her face glowing. My father, Richard, stood straight at Ryan's side, his hand resting on Ryan's shoulder, in a way I had only ever dreamed he'd rested on mine. For a moment, I couldn't move. It felt as if the world was spinning off its axis, as if something precious had slipped quietly out of my hands. Ryan turned, seeing me frozen at the gate. The usual smirk he wore at school was gone, replaced by something darker. In his eyes, I saw it clearly: hatred, resentment, and a flicker of fear, as if he thought I might steal from him something he believed was rightfully his. My parents noticed me a second later, their faces quickly shifting, startled, uneasy. Clara looked away, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. Richard cleared his throat and stepped back, dropping his hand awkwardly. No one said a word. That night, the house felt colder. Their laughter from earlier echoed through the halls. And for the first time in my life, I felt like a stranger in my own home. The night after I saw Ryan with my parents, I couldn't think straight. Every smile they shared, every gentle look they gave him, it replayed in my mind like a broken record. By morning, I knew I needed answers. When I found my dad sitting at the table, eyes scanning the newspaper, I tried to sound casual as I asked, "Dad, how do you know Ryan?" He didn't look up. Oh, him. His family owns a few places around town. We met through work. It was quick, too quick. And Mom? I pressed softer this time. You were laughing with him yesterday. He seemed close. My mom froze for an instant before forcing a smile. He's just polite, Ethan. Don't overthink things. He's from a good family. You could learn a thing or two from him. That was all. Just polite, vague words, closing the door before I could even step through. I wanted to believe them. They were my parents, after all. They'd never lied to me. At least, that's what I clung to, so I let it go. Instead, I lost myself in studies. Numbers, theories, essays. They made sense when nothing else did. I buried myself in books and long nights, always fueled by the hope that someday I'd give my parents the life they deserved. And all the effort paid off. After months of relentless work, I got the letter, a scholarship, a full ride to a top university abroad, my dream. For once, I felt like I was finally stepping into the future I'd fought so hard for. But when I told my parents, their reactions didn't match my joy. My mom's hands trembled as she read the letter. Abroad? For how long? 4 years, I said, the excitement barely contained. It's everything I wanted, Mom. I can study there, maybe even get a good job. Her face clouded over. Ethan, we need you here. You know how much we depend on you. My dad nodded slowly. Your mom isn't well these days, and the bills are piling up. We can't manage without you. I hesitated. But this is everything I've worked for. You told me to dream big. And we're proud of you, my mom whispered, her voice barely steady. But dreams can wait. Family comes first. That night, I stared at the ceiling until dawn, caught between duty and desire. In the end, I chose them. I declined the scholarship, told the university I couldn't accept. I told myself it was the right thing to do. The years blurred into a rhythm of exhaustion. Days bled into nights. I worked wherever I could, loading crates in the warehouse, washing dishes at the diner, fixing old electronics for neighbors. My hands blistered, my back ached, and sleep became a luxury. Every rupee I earned went home. My parents' lives grew a little easier, new furniture, decent clothes, a fixed roof, but the more I gave, the less I felt like myself. My body began to fail me. I'd wake up dizzy, sometimes coughing blood after long nights in the cold. My reflection grew thinner, shadows darkening beneath my eyes. But when I looked at my parents, I couldn't stop. Still, something was off. Their comfort was real, yet distant. They thanked me, yes, but between us hung a quiet guilt, heavy as a storm cloud. Sometimes I'd catch it in my mom's eyes, a flicker of sadness, of regret. Her gaze would soften, just for a heartbeat, before she turned away and hid. My dad grew more silent. His pride turned to instructions, longer shifts, more savings, less talk of what came next. It was as if both of them wanted to keep me anchored, afraid I'd drift too far from home. Once, when I mentioned reapplying for another scholarship, my dad's voice cut through the room like a knife. Enough, Ethan. You've done enough studying. It's time to think about family now. Family. The word that once gave me strength now felt like a chain. I told myself I was selfish for wanting more. I told myself love means sacrifice. But some nights, when the pain in my chest kept me awake, I wondered, why did their love feel heavier than hate? And why, every time Ryan's name surfaced, did that cold emptiness return? 4 years slipped by like sand through my fingers. Every day looked the same. Work, exhaustion, sleep, repeat. My life became a pattern of duty, stitched together by fatigue. Then, one morning while delivering supplies to the cafe, words froze me where I stood. Did you hear? Ryan Ashford's back from Cambridge. Top of his class, they say. The words struck me harder than they should have. Cambridge, the same prestigious university in England I once dreamed of attending. The same university that had offered me a scholarship before I turned it down for my parents. At first I wondered if it was just a coincidence. The world was full of universities and people named Ryan, but curiosity gnawed at me, and I checked later, searching for something that let me sleep. There had only been one scholarship that year for our city, one spot, the spot I had surrendered, and Ryan had taken it. For a long time, I just stood there, silent and numb, watching the world move around me as if I no longer belonged to it. I wasn't angry, not at Ryan, not at my parents, just empty. If I had gone, Ryan wouldn't have. But if I hadn't stayed, maybe my parents would have suffered. Maybe this was how things were meant to be. Fate, I told myself. Fate had chosen its favorite. That night, I laughed quietly, though the sound felt bitter in my throat. Ryan had his world of brilliance and luxury. I had mine, built from sweat, sleepless nights, and quiet sacrifice. Maybe that's how things were meant to stay. But fate doesn't stop testing you once it starts. Without a degree, permanent jobs were always out of reach. I drifted from one part-time position to another, loading boxes, cleaning offices, serving as an usher at the movie theater. My hands grew rough, my shoulders ached from years of strain, and sleep became something I no longer deserved. Still, I endured. Every dollar went home. My parents finally had everything they needed: comfort, stability, even small luxuries. Yet the warmth between us faded, replaced with politeness. Sometimes when my mom thanked me, her eyes carried a flicker of guilt, swiftly hidden behind a practiced smile. My dad's silence grew heavier by the day. He didn't ask about my dreams anymore, didn't mention school or hope for the future. It was as if they wanted me to forget I'd ever had any. One evening, the theater was unusually crowded. A new romantic film had just released. The lines seemed endless. I was scanning tickets when three familiar figures entered the hall. Ryan, and beside him, my parents. For a heartbeat, I forgot how to breathe. My dad was dressed neatly in a shirt I'd never seen before, looking younger somehow. My mom laughed softly, brushing Ryan's arm as if sharing some private joke. They looked happy, too happy. Blinking, I told myself exhaustion was playing tricks. Maybe the dim lighting, maybe my tired eyes. I blinked again, but they were gone. The row they'd turned toward was empty, no sign of them anywhere. I searched the aisles, the lobby, even the exits, but found nothing. And my parents, they had told me they'd be working overtime, that they wouldn't be home until late, so it couldn't have been them. It couldn't. Still, as I stood there gripping half a torn ticket, a chill crept over me. The laughter from the movie hall sounded distant, muffled by the pounding in my chest. Maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe. But deep down, something inside me cracked open again. The same quiet, gnawing feeling I'd tried to bury years ago. The sense that my parents weren't just hiding something. They were protecting someone. And once again, that someone was Ryan Ashford. Ethan had always believed that life, no matter how cruel, would eventually make sense. But lately, even fate seemed tired of offering meaning. After seeing what looked like his parents with Ryan at the theater, a restless unease began to settle in Ethan's chest. He longed to ask them, to hear them laugh and assure him it was all a mistake. But his dad came home late, his mom went to bed early. The question never found its way past his lips. Then one evening, wiping the cafe counter at closing time, his phone buzzed. His mom's voice wavered through the static. "Ethan, your dad's sick. The doctors say he needs surgery right away. It's his aortic valve. They said it could fail any day." The words froze him. "How much?" he managed. $500,000, she whispered. "They won't start without it." $500,000. He couldn't even picture that much money. That night, in his small rented room, the ceiling pressed down like a weight. His mind whirled through impossible ideas: loans, mercy, miracles. In the end, only one choice remained. The next morning, Ethan limped into a hospital under a false name. He sold his kidney. The pain was savage, but he didn't hesitate. His dad's life came first. When he handed the envelope of cash to his parents, their faces shone with gratitude. His mom wept. His dad embraced him, voice trembling with thanks. But they didn't ask how he'd found the money. They didn't want to know. And though his body ached and his vision swam, Ethan smiled. He told himself that their relief was enough. A few weeks later, his friend Leo burst through the cafe doors, wild with excitement. "Ethan, you won't believe this. There's a private party at a billionaire's mansion. They're paying triple for servers, but we have to wear mascot suits. Come on, man, it's good money." Ethan hesitated, feeling the tender line of his surgical scar. "When is it?" "This weekend," Leo grinned. "Saturday night." "Saturday." Ethan faltered. It was his birthday. A quiet ache rose in his chest, but he let it go. Birthdays mattered little. His parents would be working, and there was nothing to celebrate. He forced a smile. "Sure, I'll come." The mansion glowed like a palace from another world. Crystal chandeliers poured gold over marble floors, and the air smelled of roses and wealth. Ethan tugged at his oversized mascot suit, trying not to look too lost among the laughter and music. He and Leo weaved through the crowd, balancing trays of champagne. Guests shimmered in silk and diamonds. Ethan's heart thudded. This was another universe. Then at the center of the grand hall, he froze. There, under soft lights, stood his mom and dad. His mom's silver gown glittered like moonlight. His dad, in a perfectly fitted tuxedo, looked proud and content. Their eyes were bright with joy, a joy Ethan hadn't seen in years, but it wasn't for him. Between them, radiant and surrounded by guests, was Ryan Ashford. Then the announcer's voice rang across the hall. "Everyone, raise your glasses. Tonight we celebrate the birthday of the young heir of the Ashford family, Mr. Ryan Ashford." The crowd cheered as music swelled. Ethan's whole world collapsed. Ryan's birthday, his own birthday. They were born on the same day. While Ryan's name shimmered on banners and candles burned for his celebration, Ethan stood shrouded in a mascot suit, hands shaking with the humiliation and heat. His parents hadn't called, hadn't wished him, hadn't remembered. He blinked hard, fighting the sting in his eyes. He wanted to escape, but couldn't. Leo had vouched for him, and leaving now would only hurt his friend, so he stayed, silent, invisible, until fate turned cruel again. A guest stumbled, jostling Ethan's tray. Champagne splashed across Ryan's crisp white suit. The music died. Ryan turned, eyes narrowed. "Do you realize what you've done?" Ethan was mute. "Get him to clean the floors," Ryan ordered coldly. "He should learn some manners." Supervisors hesitated, but Ryan's glare silenced all protests. Ethan dropped to his knees, scrubbing at the marble. His parents hovered nearby, but didn't move. They didn't recognize him. Perhaps they preferred not to. But Ryan wasn't finished. "You think you can just ruin my birthday and walk away?" His smirk was cruel. "Tell you what, drink this and we'll call it even." He pointed at a crate of liquor bottles. Ethan's lips shook. "I can't." "Then pay for my suit, $5,000, or is that more than you earn in a year?" Laughter spiked through the crowd. Ethan's mom smiled faintly, almost proudly at Ryan's command. His dad rested an approving hand on Ryan's shoulder, so Ethan drank. Each mouthful burned. His body, still weak from surgery, rebelled, but he kept going, bottle after bottle, until the lights fractured and the world spun away. He collapsed. The mascot head tumbled across the marble floor. A gasp ran through the crowd. Ethan's pale, sweat-soaked face was exposed. His mom's hand flew to her mouth. "Ethan." Ryan's eyes flickered, shock and something darker, before he composed himself. He stepped forward, his voice smooth, protective. "How could Ethan be here?" he said quickly. "He's probably at home. This man's just a drunk worker. Remove him before he causes trouble." With a quick gesture, security lifted Ethan's limp body and carried him out. His parents hesitated for only a moment. Then Ryan smiled reassuringly, and they smiled back. His mom leaned gently against Ryan. His dad laughed at Ryan's side. The party sparkled on, golden and untouched. No one spoke of the fainted boy again, not even once. As candles burned on Ryan's cake, Ethan, born on the same day, under the roof of fate, lay outside in the dark, discarded. Leo found him near the service gate, pale and barely breathing, and rushed him to the hospital. The doctor's verdict was grim: severe alcohol poisoning. His body's already weakened. He's lucky he's alive. Leo sat outside the ICU, hands shaking as he watched Ethan through the glass, fragile, surrounded by tubes and monitors. He tried calling Ethan's parents, once, twice, again, each time a cold recorded voice. "The number you are trying to reach is currently switched off." Leo lowered the phone, confusion and worry deepening his frown. He didn't know much about Ethan's family, only that they worked a lot and rarely had time for him. Perhaps they were busy. Perhaps they didn't know. He looked at Ethan, unconscious, alone, surrounded by the steady beep of machines, and whispered, "You've done everything for them, haven't you? And now there's no one here for you." He scrubbed at his eyes, leaning against the wall as the heart monitor pulsed its lonely rhythm. Outside, the night pressed onward, indifferent to the boy fighting for his life behind the glass. When Ethan woke, it was like surfacing from the bottom of a dark ocean. His throat burned. His chest ached. His limbs felt heavy and cold, as if his soul had left without him. The hospital ceiling stared back, blank and indifferent. For a moment, he forgot why he was there. Then the memories flooded back. The party, the mask, Ryan's smirk, the humiliations, the forced liquor, the moment he fainted, and his parents. His parents standing beside Ryan, smiling, proud, glowing with an affection he had never known. No, he shut his eyes tight, nails digging into his palms. It wasn't real. He clung desperately to that lie, repeating it until his chest burned. Anything was better than truth. A week passed before they said he was strong enough to leave. During that week, his phone stayed silent. No messages, no missed calls, no one asking if he was alive. He stared at the blank screen as if it had betrayed him. They must be busy, he whispered to himself. Work, deadlines. Maybe they didn't have time. He forced a smile, forced hope. Because without hope, he'd crumble. As he stepped out of the hospital, he repeated those same lies over and over. Maybe they couldn't visit. Maybe they planned a surprise. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe what I saw at the party was a mistake. He told himself there was a reason, a truth they couldn't share. He told himself they loved him in their own way. He told himself going home and confronting them would fix it all. He held that fragile hope as if it were his last breath. But just as he reached the gate of his old crumbling house, a sleek black car pulled up. The door opened. Ryan stepped out, perfectly dressed, perfectly groomed, perfectly confident, the kind of confidence bred from being loved, wanted, protected. "Ethan," he said casually. "Out of the hospital already? You recover fast for someone so fragile." Ethan's brows furrowed. "What do you want?" Ryan smiled, a smirk full of cold amusement. "Let's skip the small talk. I'm here to enlighten you." "Ethan's nothing." Ryan stepped closer. "You still don't get it, do you? Why you suffered, why you starved, why you broke your body for parents who never cared." Ethan's breath hitched, a sharp pain spreading in his chest. "Stop." But Ryan didn't. He looked at Ethan like a puzzle he enjoyed dismantling piece by piece. "Your father believes hardship makes a man strong, that suffering builds character." He shrugged lightly. "You were his experiment." Ethan froze. Ryan's smirk deepened. "All those scholarships, every chance, every job, it was all a setup. Your father wanted to see how far you'd go, how much pain you'd bear before you broke." Ethan shook his head, voice quivering. "No, they wouldn't." "Oh, but they did." Ryan interrupted smoothly. He pulled out his phone and tapped a button. A recording played. Father's voice, "Ethan will only grow if he suffers. Let him learn the hard way." Mother's voice, "Ryan is the heir we're proud of. Ethan will understand eventually." Ethan staggered, as if struck. "Lies," he whispered. "You're lying." Ryan's smile widened. "Am I?" He stepped closer, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "That $500,000 you raised by selling your kidney?" He paused for effect. "It was handed to me. Extra pocket money. Your father never needed surgery, Ethan." That was a lie. Ethan's world tilted. Ryan continued without mercy. "The scholarship you gave up? I didn't steal it. Your parents gave it to me before you ever applied. The movie theater incident? They were with me, celebrating my success. The birthday gifts? All mine. The love you begged for? All mine." He leaned close so Ethan could see the satisfaction gleaming in his eyes. "You lived in a broken house while I lived in a mansion. You starved while I had everything I wanted. You worked 3 jobs while I traveled abroad with your parents." A cold chuckle escaped him. "And the best part? Every time you cried for attention, they said they were busy working for your future." He tapped his temple mockingly. "Except your future was never yours." Ethan's knees gave out. He sank to the ground. Ryan tossed an envelope. Photos, documents, audio files spilled across the dirt. "Here," Ryan said lightly. "Proof. Everything you suffered, every scar, heartbreak, most of it was orchestrated," he smirked. "Your parents, they just needed a gentle push." Ethan stared at the proof, tears slipping silently, darkening the soil beneath him. Ryan stepped back to his car. "Don't feel too bad," he called over his shoulder. "You were never meant to win. You were the test subject." He paused, giving one last ruthless smile. "I was the son they chose." Ryan leaned in, voice rich with cruel satisfaction. "And by the way, our parents are taking me on a week's vacation. Just the three of us." Ethan's fingers tightened on his phone. Ryan added smoothly, "They'll give you some pathetic excuse, helping a relative or a family friend needing assistance." As if on cue, Ethan's phone buzzed. Ryan smirked. "Go ahead. Look." Ethan unlocked a new message. Family group. Ashford household. From Dad, "Ethan, your mom and I need to go out of town for a few days. A relative called for help, and we can't say no. Please don't worry." From Mom, "Take care of yourself, son. We'll be busy, so we might not call often. We'll bring a small gift when we get back. No explanation, no concern, no mention of where. Just empty excuses." Ryan's eyes flicked to the screen, amusement lighting his smirk. "See? They lie so naturally now." Another message popped up. From Mom, "We left a little gift for you on the table. Don't forget to open it." Ryan chuckled. "Open it when you get home. It really shows how much you're worth." He moved toward his car, adding a final poisonous whisper. "Try not to cry too loudly tonight." The door slammed. The engine growled. Ryan disappeared down the street. Ethan stayed kneeling, hands numb around his phone, tears blurring the screen. Fake care, fake love. Words he once believed with his whole heart. His breath caught, then broke. A raw sob tore from his chest, then another and another. He cried for his childhood, for his sacrifices, for his dreams, for his fragile hope. Then slowly the sobs twisted. A low, hollow laugh escaped. A laugh full of pain, a laugh full of betrayal, a laugh born from the cold truth sinking in. Back home, the house felt colder than ever. On the table lay a cheap white envelope. With trembling hands, Ethan opened it. Inside was a single $1 bill. A gift, $1. For 4 years of blood, sweat, hunger, broken bones, and a missing kidney. His vision blurred again. His laugh cracked the empty room, brittle and icy. In that moment, something inside Ethan Ashford shattered quietly. What remained was no longer the boy who loved too deeply. It was someone colder, someone quieter, someone whose heart had finally stopped hoping. I don't remember when I stopped crying. Somewhere between dusk's gold fading into bruised purple and the heavy silence of night, my body must have given up. When I finally opened my eyes, I was lying on the cold ground outside my home. My throat was raw, my eyelids swollen and heavy. For a moment I wondered if it had all been some twisted nightmare. Ryan's cruel words, the harsh truth, the hollow message from my parents. Maybe my exhausted mind had conjured it all. But then I saw the cracked screen of my phone glowing faintly beside me, 20 missed calls, all from Leo. I sat up slowly, wincing as my back protested. My fingers trembled as I dialed him, and he answered before the first ring ended. "Ethan, finally, where were you? I've been trying to reach you all day." His voice was frantic, breathless. Leo never panicked unless something was truly wrong. "I'm here," I rasped. "What happened?" "You won't believe this," he said, frustration spilling from each word. "My boss suddenly started treating me like garbage, like I did something wrong. He wouldn't give me leave to visit you at the hospital, wouldn't even let me step outside." He paused, inhaling sharply. "And I found out why. Some rich heir, young, connected, requested that my boss keep me busy, make my life miserable. I don't even know him, Ethan. Why would some spoiled heir interfere with my work?" My chest tightened. I didn't have to guess. I already knew. Ryan, he was isolating me, silencing every support I had left. Leo's voice softened. "I'm sorry I couldn't come. I'm really, really sorry." I pressed a hand to my forehead, forcing my tone steady. "It's okay, Leo. None of this is your fault. But your accident, I should've." "You did enough," I interrupted gently. "Maybe you should think about changing your job somewhere you're treated better." A long silence, then a sigh. "Yeah, maybe you're right." We talked a few more minutes before he finally hung up, still apologizing, still worried. I turned off the phone. The silence that followed felt heavier than before. Staring at the dark screen, something shifted inside me. For the first time, the future didn't feel like a burden. It felt open. The next morning, I began preparing to leave. No dramatic music, no trembling hands, just quiet resolve. 7 days passed faster than I expected, each one peeling away another layer of attachment I thought unbreakable. I packed a single suitcase. Just clothes, a few books. The rest of my life wasn't worth carrying. Before leaving my room, I sat down and wrote a letter, my last words to the two people who had once been my entire world. Mom, Dad, thank you for raising me. Thank you for giving me life. But this is where that dead ends. I'm severing all ties. Do not look for me again. Live happily with the son you chose. I folded the letter neatly, placed the $100 bill inside, and set it on the small wooden table in the living room. The same table where I'd once waited for them on birthdays they never came home for. Then I stepped outside and called a cab. When it arrived, I paused at the gate and took one last look at the house. The cracked walls, the sagging roof, the hollow space that had held my entire existence. A place built with love in my imagination, but never in theirs. I whispered a soft goodbye, opened the cab door, and climbed in. At the airport, fate greeted me with one final reminder of the life I was leaving behind. There they were, my mom, my dad, and Ryan, walking out of the arrivals gate, laughing and chatting, sunburned from vacation, luggage piled high on carts. They looked so happy, so complete. I almost expected the sight to hurt, but it didn't. I smiled bitterly at my own foolishness, forever believing I belonged in that picture. Without a second thought, I pulled the SIM card from my phone, snapped it cleanly in half, and tossed the pieces into the nearest dustbin. The phone followed soon after. No calls, no messages, no reminders of the family that never truly existed for me. None of them noticed me, not for a second. They were too busy fussing over Ryan, straightening his jacket, carrying his bags, listening to his complaints about jet lag, immersed in the world I once thought was mine. I turned away, took a deep breath, and walked through the gate, leaving behind everything that had chained me for years. The moment the plane touched down in Toronto, a strange mix of exhaustion and relief washed over me. I had left everything behind, the lies, the pain, the family that had never truly been mine. Waiting for me at the airport was Professor Caldwell, his face lighting up with the same warm smile. "Ethan, welcome. You made it," he said, pulling me into a firm, fatherly hug. "Come on, let's get you settled," he added, leading me out of the airport. The ride from the airport to the university was quiet but comforting and reassuring. The professor pointed out landmarks, shared snippets of advice, and spoke gently of opportunities ahead. He didn't scold me or demand explanations. He simply guided me through this new world. I breathed in a world that felt, for the first time, genuinely mine and welcoming. The university sprawled before me, alive with ambition and energy, bustling with students. Students hurried across campus, their laughter and chatter blending with the crisp Canadian air. I followed Professor Caldwell through its halls, awestruck, until we reached my new dormitory. My room was modest but comfortable, a small sanctuary where I could finally exist freely. The first few days were strange. Everything was different, the air, the language, the routine. But slowly I adjusted and began to let the world in, embracing my new life. Classes began, and I dove into my studies, eager to learn and grow as a person. Each lecture, each assignment, each quiet library session felt like a step toward freedom. Here, I was Ethan Ashford, student, scholar, finally, my own person without constraints. Meanwhile, back at the airport where I had departed, my parents expected to return home. They pictured me gone, alone, powerless, and believed their schemes had succeeded perfectly. But Ryan had other plans, and with his usual charm, he suggested to my parents, "Why not stay at the mansion a few more days? It'll be relaxing," he proposed. Before my father, Richard, could respond, my mother, Clara, hesitated, sensing something amiss. Something stirred inside her, an intuition she couldn't name, a tug towards something missing. She thought of me, Ethan, and a sudden urgency welled up, overpowering her desire for comfort. "No," she said softly but firmly. "We need to go home," she insisted to Richard, and just like that, they left Ryan behind, determined to return to the life they had left. They boarded a taxi and made their way home, the familiar streets a blur of memories. When they reached the front door, they noticed it was locked, an unusual occurrence. Assuming Ethan might have gone out to work, they quietly let themselves in with the spare key. Inside, the house was heavy with silence, an unsettling atmosphere that filled the air. On the small wooden table lay an envelope, a reminder of their unkept promises to me. Inside was a $100 bill, the modest gift they had given Ethan before leaving. As Clara's eyes settled on the envelope, the memory of their unkept promise hit her. Then she noticed a letter resting beside it, an ominous sign of what was to come. Her hands trembled as she picked it up and began to read the troubling words. With each line, her face paled and she swayed, nearly fainting from the shock. Richard caught her, steadying her, as worry tightened his chest, sensing something was wrong. "What is it?" he whispered, his voice filled with concern and confusion. She handed him the letter, voice barely a breath. "Ethan, he's left us." Richard read the words, shock clouding his eyes as the reality set in. The truth they'd ignored was now unavoidable. The child they thought bound had broken free. Silence filled the room, heavy and absolute, as they processed the devastating news. When Clara and Richard realized Ethan was truly gone, panic set in, a deep fear. No longer distracted by Ryan's effortless charm or empty promises, they began to search. They poured every ounce of influence and wealth into searching for their son, Ethan. Private investigators scoured digital footprints, traced his connections, and reached out to anyone who might have seen him. Clara and Richard combed through old friends and community contacts, haunting places Ethan used to frequent, desperate for news. They became increasingly frantic as days passed without any sign of Ethan, their worry growing with each moment. Throughout their search, Ryan tried calling them, his voice smooth and entitled, expecting their attention and concern. But this time, Clara and Richard declined him, their responses becoming curt, cold, and distant. The bond that had once seemed unbreakable between them and their chosen heir began to erode significantly. Their focus shifted solely to the child they truly lost, leaving Ryan feeling increasingly isolated. It took weeks, filled with agonizing uncertainty, before an investigator uncovered new information about Ethan's disappearance. Before Ethan vanished, he had met with Ryan, which raised suspicions and concerns for Clara and Richard. When Ethan's parents finally confronted Ryan about his manipulations, the room was thick with tension and unease. Ryan initially feigned ignorance, his face pale as if struck by a sudden faintness, denying everything. He cast doubt and spun stories designed to confuse, trying to deflect the accusations thrown at him. But Richard was relentless, pulling out the evidence, the recordings, the documents, the photos, to corner Ryan. Panic flashed across Ryan's eyes as his carefully crafted performance faltered under the weight of the proof. Desperation took hold, and Ryan launched into a pathetic confession about his cruel greed for love and attention. He insisted he had simply wanted to be chosen and to belong, trying to evoke sympathy from them. Yet as days passed, Ryan noticed the cold distance growing between him and the couple he once knew. Clara and Richard no longer showered him with the affection he once took for granted, leaving him feeling abandoned. His feeble pleas for forgiveness went unanswered, echoing in the silence that surrounded him. One evening, after his performances of remorse fell flat, the mask slipped entirely, revealing his true self. With bitter spite, Ryan revealed his true colors, and Richard's voice was cold steel, shaking the room. Richard accused Ryan of wanting everything, their wealth, their love, and all the attention he felt entitled to. Ryan's mask shattered completely, his laugh bitter, venom dripping from every word he spoke in response. He sneered, admitting he wanted everything they ever had, including the fortune, power, and love they denied him. Richard stepped forward, seething with anger, pointing out how Ryan was jealous of Ethan's privileged life. Clara's hand shot up and slapped Ryan hard across the face, the sound echoing like a crack of thunder. Ryan's eyes went wild, snarling and losing control as he lashed out with accusations of hypocrisy. Richard interrupted him coldly, reaching into his pocket to pull out his phone, ready to take action. With a few quick taps, he connected to his trusted financial advisor, managing the family's assets. Richard ordered to freeze every single account, credit card, and financial instrument linked to Ryan Ashford. His voice was sharp and unwavering, demanding immediate action without exceptions, showing no mercy. Ryan's eyes flickered with panic for the first time as the illusion of power began to crack. Clara watched silently, her face pale but resolute, knowing the gravity of the situation unfolding. The call ended, and Richard turned to Ryan, his voice low and final, delivering the harsh truth. He told Ryan he would have nothing left here, cutting off all access to the family's wealth and legacy. Ryan's bravado shattered completely, his loud protestations falling on deaf ears as bodyguards stepped forward. Richard commanded them to take Ryan out, and they moved to drag him away from the room. As Ryan was hauled toward the door, his voice rose in fury and desperation. "You're blind fools, hypocrites. I did what any son would do. I just needed a push to take what's mine." Richard's hand went up, silencing him. "No more words, Ryan. We are done with you." The heavy oak door slammed behind Ryan, leaving an echoing silence. After Ryan was cast out, Clara and Richard received startling news. Ethan had arrived in Toronto. Ethan enrolled at the prestigious University of Toronto. Wasting no time, they boarded the next flight. They were desperate to see their son and plead for forgiveness. Just as Ethan was about to enter a lecture hall, they caught him at the campus gate. With tearful eyes and trembling voices, they begged him to come home. They apologized profusely for their past mistakes. But Ethan's gaze was cold and distant. His voice echoed the words from the letter he had left behind. "I've cut all ties with you. That chapter is over." They believed that kindness and gifts would melt his resolve. So day after day, they waited at the university entrance, showering him with expensive presents. They promised he would be the only heir from now on, but Ethan rebuffed every gift. He treated them as strangers. His warmth was gone, his heart shielded against the family that once claimed him. As they struggled in vain to reconnect with their son, an urgent call from their assistant shattered their fragile hope. Ryan had gone public, though not directly. Through a carefully orchestrated anonymous account, he leaked sensitive information, exposing the harsh treatment. Clara and Richard had meted out to their biological son. The documents and recordings painted a picture of emotional neglect and cruelty, stoking public outrage. Behind the veil of secrecy, Ryan carefully kept his identity hidden. He manipulated the narrative from the shadows, airing his grievances as the discarded adopted child. He portrayed himself as the victim of a family that used him and then cast him aside. The leak set off a media firestorm. Public sentiment quickly turned against Clara and Richard, castigating them as cold and callous parents. Their wealth and privilege blinded them to the pain of their own child. Their company stock began to plummet, investors fled, and their reputation was torn apart. To worsen matters, Ryan leaked core company secrets to their rivals. He sold the company's shares gifted to him, fleeing the country with the proceeds. Their competitors seized the opportunity, dismantling what was left of the Ashford empire. Bankruptcy was declared. All assets were liquidated to cover staggering debts. Richard bitterly laughed at the irony. They had gifted the adopted son the fortune, but they denied their own biological son even a single share. Now truly stripped of wealth and status, Clara and Richard were forced back into the dilapidated home they once shared with Ethan. They labored for meager wages, disconnected from their son. After long days of toil, they would sit with Ethan's photograph and silently weep. Meanwhile, Ethan flourished, radiant and focused. He excelled in his studies. He launched a successful business and rose beyond every expectation, even hiring Liam as his assistant. In a heartfelt televised interview, Ethan shared his journey, from hardship and betrayal to resilience and success. He urged young people everywhere to believe in themselves, no matter the obstacles. But most of the credit, he said, belonged to Professor Caldwell, the mentor who first saw his potential. Professor Caldwell stood by him relentlessly and eventually became more than just a teacher. "Professor Caldwell didn't just teach me," Ethan said, voice steady and full of gratitude. "He gave me a home when I needed one most. He adopted me as his son, proving that family isn't only about blood, it's about love, support, and believing in one another." Clara and Richard watched silently from their home, the weight of Ethan's words sinking deep into their hearts. For a long moment, silence filled the room. Richard felt a cruel sting, a lifetime of belief shattered in an instant. He had always thought that only those forged by hardship would become worthy and loving children. That suffering was the path to strength and character. But now, he realized the truth. Love and success come not simply from enduring pain, but from being truly valued, nurtured, and supported. And Ethan, radiant, confident, and wise beyond his years, was the living embodiment of that truth. Clara wiped a tear from her cheek as Richard looked away, his heart heavy with regret and hope entwined. The end.